All right, what we're doing today is going over a quick overview of some of the stuff that I take on a easy, simple overnight trip on the motorcycle. Um, First off, typically I use a hammock, and I'm not doing that on this particular trip because I have a Big Agnes Boundary Deluxe sleeping pad that I almost never use, and I feel pretty bad about it, so I'm gonna take a tent and I'm gonna use the sleeping pad. The tent that I'm using, and this might not be a very popular choice, but it's an enormous reactive outdoor easy up tent. Now the only reason I'm taking that is because I have a few of them, both sizes, and like I said, I always sleep in a Hennessy hammock. So the tents are kind of a secondary thought for me at that point. So I know it's huge, I know it doesn't pack very good, but for me, it just goes in front of the trunk and I strap it down and it's no big deal. The next thing I always take is a chair, which I just have a couple of these Homeful chairs and they work pretty good. If you were like maybe over 200 pounds, I would say maybe go with a heavier duty chair, but I'm just below that mark, so it's not too bad unless it's like muddy or something like that, then the feet kind of tend to sink into the ground. The next thing I take is a table. This is a Rock Cloud, it's aluminum. I think it's about 16 inches. It's the large version, which I kind of wanted to have just because the smaller ones tend to run out of space and things like that. So I like having the bigger one. The only downside to that one is it's the smooth aluminum finish. And sometimes if you don't have it level, or if you're camping in the snow or the ice, which I typically do, that surface gets a little slippery. So it's good for the most part, but that kind of gets a little sketchy. Couple other things, cooking set. I always take just a set of pots and pans, basic type camping set. Had that for a long time. That one works really well. I don't even know what kind it is. I think I got it at a surplus store years ago. Next thing would be my GSI Outdoors cooking set. This is pretty good. It's small. It has a lot of stuff in it, utensils, a little cutting board, things for spices and like oil, cooking oil, and also for dish soap so you can clean your stuff up. And then I have this container that has a few small things in it. Usually it kind of varies what I have in there. There's my cooker for the gas can, spork, another lighter, some Tums, some koozies. You never know what you're gonna need, but you can pretty much throw anything you want in there. I also don't always take this, it's kind of heavy. Free Soldier large tarp. I think this is a 12 by 14. Lots of D-rings, lots of tie outs. You can put this into any configuration that you want. Super nice. I don't always take it, like I said, but sometimes you might get rain, you might plan for rain. You can always set up a tarp, over top of your stuff. Those reactive outdoor tents are waterproof, and my boys and I have actually had those out in some pretty heavy rainstorms and they hold up pretty good. The floor tends to get some moisture, but as far as water coming through the top, they're excellent. Another thing, and there's lots of different options on these, is camp shoes. And I don't get a lot of opportunities to wear these because I'm mostly camping when it's super cold out. But these are great because they just smash down, stick them in whatever bag you want, piece of cake. That's pretty much it for the basic stuff. There's a lot of specific things that are in like the crash bar bags, like other tools, air compressor. I carry a front tube because we all know those work on both front and rear tires in case you get a flat just in a pinch. My toolkit is in my trunk, and the only other thing that goes in the trunk is food, and you guys can pretty much pick what you want to take for food. When I'm on the motorcycle, I don't like taking freeze-dried meals just because when I backpack, you use freeze-dried meals just to save space and weight, and they're pretty good, but they kind of suck. So what I like doing is taking some type of meat, whether it's pork or steak for dinner. I like to cook food whenever I'm on the motorcycle, and then in the morning I'll usually have like eggs, some type of egg sandwich or bacon or whatnot. And then also with the trunk you can take like a lot of drinks, whatever you want to take, whether you have a container that holds a lot of water, or if you take bottled water. And then obviously when it comes to pack, you take all your things and you want to keep things pretty equal. It's not the end of the world if you're out of balance, but especially on a KLR, very easy to deal with, very easy to pack. You're not really worried about your center of gravity. Things tend to kind of center themselves out on that bike. So other than that, that's basically pretty much it. And I think that should do pretty well. If you guys have any other options, I know there's all kinds of options for tents and sleep systems and cooking stuff. I know there's endless options for that kind of stuff, but this is just a basic, easy set. If I know I'm going on a mild temperature trip, then this stuff works pretty good for me. Now, the only other thing I might be using tonight would be a Lost Ranger Big Agnes sleeping bag. That one's 15 degree. I don't think I'm really going to need it, so I might pick another sleeping bag yet, but I haven't figured that out yet. So I got a couple things to go over before I leave, and pretty much the only thing I got to figure out is food. So other than that, that's it. Thanks you guys for watching Anthony Brothers Moto Camping, and I hope you enjoy the video.